Now for this really quick and simple upcycle, I have for you this little tin from the Dollar Tree that I previously spray painted for another project that I never got to execute. So we're going to be repurposing it for this one, and to do so, we're going to be leveling it up some. And to do that, we're going to be adding one of these here rub-on transfers from the Dollar Tree that just says Happy Fall, y'all, which I thought was appropriate for the project. And we're simply just going to be adhering that rub-on transfer to our little tin. And to apply it, we're simply going to be removing that packing and applying our image onto the bucket and getting it centered to the best of our ability, just as if we were using a Cricut vinyl. And I'm going to steady hold it into place, try not to move it around and shift it, grab my little Cricut scraper and rub on top of it until the image transfers, hopefully. So what I've noticed is that as the image starts to set, as you're rubbing it on, the letters will start to get transparent and almost like disappear underneath that transfer sheet. And so that's how you know that the image is transferring. And so you want to carefully take a peek just in case you got to put it back. And so far so good. It transferred. I'm not sure if it's picking up on camera because of, the black background, but I did manage to get it on and I love it. So now that I got my Happy Fall y'all on, I don't have any floral foam or, the regular Dollar Tree styrofoam. So I'm just going to improvise because that's what I do best is improvise. And I simply just, I had these come in a 2-pack from Dollar Tree. They're just round discs. So I had 2 of them and I cut it out and this is what it looks like on the inside. So now I have some florals here that I cut up and this came from a pick from Dollar Tree and I just cut the stems off because I used most of it on another DIY project. And so now I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to add them to my styrofoam in no particular order because I'm not a flower arranger, but I'm going to try to fill it out to the best of my ability. So as you see, I'm just going around trying to fill in the spaces to the best of my ability and just using these picks as filler so that I can cover up the empty space as much as possible. So now I have this little like a sweater pumpkin from the Dollar Tree that just came on a pick, and I'm gonna add that right to the center of my arrangement because I like the way that it looks. So I tried my best to fill in all that dead space using the leaves, the little maple leaves all around, and I tried not to overfill it with florals. These 3 Gerber daisies are the star of the show, as well as the little sweater pumpkin on the top, and I'm just loving the way that it came out. This is, a quick and easy idea and goes to show you that you don't always have to use your Cricut. I mean, these little decals from the Dollar Tree are just as good. I mean, if you can't find the decals, you can use stickers, you can use a stencil, you can handwrite if you have a nice handwriting, you can write something. I mean, this was just an idea to give you that inspiration, and I'm glad I was able to share. Okay, so another really quick and easy fall decor upcycle is I have this candle that I removed the label from it and left it plain. And then I have some of these here window clings from the Dollar Tree. And so the beauty of this is that because window clings are meant to stick to glass, you don't have to do nothing else to it. So if you want to repurpose it, let's say for Christmas or another holiday later on down the line, you can. So I'm just going to take this sweater weather one. So I ended up switching out the sweater weather and pumpkin spice one for this season of change because that one was a little bit too wide and I ended up cutting it and I cut it crooked, so it bothered me. So because it annoyed me, I went and I used this one, which is the perfect size and What I like about these is that they're repositionable, so you can lift them up and reposition them down as many times as you need to. No Mod Podge or glue needed because it is glass, and like I said, you can repurpose it for the next season. And that's how quick and easy, guys, it was to upcycle this candle, and I'm gonna enjoy it for the holiday season. All right, so for this really quick and easy fall upcycle, I have for you one of these here monogram leaves from the Dollar Tree. And it has this initial here that's kind of embedded into the leaf, if you will. So I'm gonna give it a nice rough sanding with my Dollar Tree sanding sponge to try to get it as smooth as possible. And then I'm gonna come in with some of this here spackling also from the Dollar Tree to try to get into those indentations and get it as smooth as I can. So after hitting it with that Dollar Tree spackle and then sanding it down with my sponge and getting it as smooth as possible, I'm now ready to proceed to the next step, which is I'm going to take some of this here Waverly Antiquing Wax with my little baby wipe, and I'm going to go to town and give it like a faux stain, if you will. And I'm just going to dip my baby wipe into the antiquing wax. A very little goes a long way. And I'm just going to rub it onto my leaf and try to give it that staining effect. So here's a look at what that leaf is looking like after giving it a coat of that antiquing wax. And I did go ahead and do both sides. Normally I would leave it just as is because less is more and I like the elegance of it. But all right, so my backup plan is to take one of these burlap leaves that I also purchased at the Dollar Tree and try to see if I can adhere it to here. Now this does have a wire on it that should come out fairly easily because I've done it in the past, but of course when you try to do stuff on camera that really is not the case. But yeah, it pulls off pretty easily. So now I just have that plain piece of burlap that I can trace out my image with, and I'm just gonna trace it out with a pen and cut it out. All right, so here's a look at that leaf after cutting it out. And so I measured it down. So now I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna come in with some of this here Mod Podge, and I'm gonna give it a generous dollop and spread it all around that leaf, especially concentrating on the corners because we want that leaf to stick, and burlap sucks up a lot of Mod Podge. So that's why you want to put a lot. This may seem like excessive, but it's really not, because you're going to see that once I lay down that burlap, it's going to suck it right up. So now that we got our Mod Podge on, we're going to go ahead and situate our leaf down as such. And now that we got our burlap adhered, we're going to come in and we're going to go over it with another coat of Mod Podge. And don't worry, it does dry clear. So I know it looks scary, but this is going to dry clear and it's going to stiffen up that burlap. And this way, if there's any imperfections as far as the sizing, we can buff down the edges with the emery board or a sanding block and get a nice, crisp, smooth finish. So now it's just a matter of allowing this to set up and dry. All right, so here's a look at what it looks like during its drying process. I'm loving the contrast of the two colors on both sides, and the color of the beads looks very organic. Now, ideally, you would let this completely dry for a couple of hours, but because I'm impatient, yeah, you know how that goes. So I'm just simply going to come in with this little Dollar Tree diamond emery board, and I'm going to try to clean up them edges. And you want to go in a downward motion, always out, not to tear the burlap, because then you're going to get all this fraying. So I'm just going to continue on as such to get it as nicely clean as possible. You can see on the other side, you know, the edges that are not completely flush. So I'm going to clean all of that up. And that completes this DIY craft. I am loving the way that it turned out. I love the way that this distressing looks around the edge from taking it down on the sides. It just adds to the character of it, and I love that it looks organic and natural, and you would never know that it was a happy accident because I was trying to camouflage the imperfections underneath due to that monogram that it initially had. So who would have thought this was a monogram leaf? And I like the way that the two-tone, you know, colors, the two shades of the burlap against the brown. I'm just loving it, and I can't wait to style it with the rest of my fall decor. So I have this here little silver serving tray from the Dollar Tree that doesn't really go with my aesthetics. And you already know what time it is. I'm going to take it outside and give it a coat of this here spray paint. And then we're going to take it up a notch. So this is what it looks like after giving it that full coverage of spray paint. I didn't paint the underside because it was black already. And I just gave it a full coat and allowed it to dry. So now, last but not least, the next step is that I found this removable peel and stick wall decal sheet from the Dollar Tree in this really cute boho pattern. So I measured out the circumference from the inside of the tray, and I traced it out with my pen. And you know what they say, measure twice, cut once. So I measured a couple of times. I don't know if you see the lines on here. So now I'm just gonna come in with my scissors and give it a little trim, and we're gonna adhere it to our tray, and that's all she wrote. That'll be the end of this DIY. Here's a look at what it looks like after cutting it out. And me and measurements, guys, we just do not get along. It appears that I'm still gonna have a little bit of overage on each side, but because I painted the inside black as well, we'll be able to get away with it. So now it's just a matter of peeling it and sticking it down. So we're just gonna remove the backing as such and try to get it as centered as possible. Remember, we have like a little bit of overage on each side. So once you put it down, that's it. It's down for good. So I think that's about right. So now we could smoothen it out. And there you have it. Now we have ourselves a cute little bohemian inspired tray that we can display our decor on. And it was that quick, simple, and easy, guys. If this was not the easiest DIY craft ever, I don't know what is. And I hope you'll be inclined to repurpose some of those outdated pieces into fully functional pieces of decor. I hope you enjoyed.